Okay, everybody, welcome to Fundations. We are still in Unit 6, and today we are going to start talking about the very strange ending, IVE. We're actually going to be talking about this over the next couple of days, so this is just an introduction. Now, I'm not going to quiz you on them today, but have you learned these trick words? Only, house, move, right, place, together. Okay, we'll be quizzing on them very soon, so make sure you're practicing them and completing the worksheets that have these words. Okay, so in Unit 6, we've learned that ib, the closed syllable ib, when it gets that magic E, becomes ibe, like vibe and tribe. Id becomes I'd, like ride and slide. If becomes ife, like life and wife. Ick becomes Ike. Now remember, ick is usually ICK or IC. We don't have any words that end with IK. So IKE is Ike, like, and bike. Ill becomes Isle, like mile and smile. Im becomes I'm, like time and chime. In becomes ein, like pine and shine. Ip becomes ipe, like wipe and gripe. Becomes ire, like wire and fire. And we learned what happens with S when it's between two vowels, especially. Many times it doesn't even sound like an S, it sounds like a Z, like wise and rise. And remember, we mark that with a little Z over the S. It becomes ite, like bite and right. Now, here's where we run into a couple of problems. One of them is the letter V never wants to be the last letter. It refuses. So, an IV sound is IV. But because V doesn't want to be at the end of the word, an E has to come in. There's another problem. The E, when it comes after a V, doesn't change the vowel before it in many cases. So if, even with an E, many times is still if. Like give. It's not give, it's give. And forgive. It's not forgive. And olive. It's not alive. Olive is the little fruit that you sometimes see in a salad or on a pizza. And captive. Now, we do have some V-E words that follow the rule with a V, like five and alive. So what's happening here? Well, on the right side, that magic busy E is doing something. It's finishing the word for us because V doesn't want to be at the end. It's finishing the word, but the I is still short. On the left side, the E is doing two things. It's finishing the word and it's making the I say its name, like five and alive. So all of this is because of that magic E doing its stuff. Okay, so the E is really busy, but the V is really stubborn. So now we have this problem. How are we going to mark these? Well, if we look at 5, it's one syllable, so it gets a scoop, and it's a V-E syllable. The E gets crossed out because it's silent, right? We don't hear it. And 5, that's a long I, so we give it a macron. Now, if we look at the other side, give also gets a scoop because it's one syllable. And we don't hear the E, so we cross that out. This time, though, the I is short. It's not give, it's give, so we give it a brev. And it looks like a V-E syllable, but because the vowel is short, we cross it out. Boys and girls, this is the V-E exception. So, on the left side, we have 5, alive, hive, strive, which means to work hard to do something, and live. On the other side, we have active, after give, we have active, olive, forgive, and, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this one can be live and live. What does this remind you of? Think of the last time we talked about exceptions. It should remind you of the word wind. Remember that? Wind was also wind. So we have wind and wind, and we have live and live. Something to be careful about. Okay. So you might remember that when we talked about closed syllable exceptions, like we had the word post, even though it looked like past, we said it was post. And the way we marked that was very similar to this. We put a macron here, but underneath we put a C that was crossed out. So post and colt and old, wind and child, those were all the exceptions that we had from a couple of units ago, the glued exceptions, the closed syllable exceptions. Now we have one more exception for V_E. Okay, so let's see if you can spell these. The first word is 5. I have 5 books on my shelf. Okay, here it is. The next one is live. Live. I love to watch live sports. Live. Okay, here it is. And the next one is live. Live. I live in a small town. And there it is. And your next one is give. Could somebody please give me a hand with this heavy box? Give. All right, here it is. The next one is forgive. We should always forgive people, even if they hurt us. Forgive. Okay, and let me show you that. And the last one is hive. Hive. Bees live in a hive. Okay, and let's take a look at that. Okay, make sure you have all of these words written twice, the way you spell them first, and then the way I showed you how to spell them. And that's it, boys and girls. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. We're going to talk about IVE a little bit more in the next video. Okay, have a great day, and don't touch any beehives. The end.